but Shikha, what is the sense you are getting from the ground? We are barely 12 days away now from the first phase of West Bengal polling. What is the sense you are getting? Who is dominating in terms of the narrative, in terms of the campaign rhetoric? Who is many political analysts whom I spoke to in Assam? They said that BJP, in a way, has given up on Assam because of all the fake passport controversy of Mamata Biswa Sarma. They felt that they were losing the narrative towards the last 10 days of the Assam campaign, and that is why they are pooling in all their efforts now in West Bengal. It's going to be tough for BJP, but it's going to be tough for Mamata Didi also.
See, it's tough for the BJP. It's tougher for the BJP. Let's put it like this. It's tougher for the BJP, less tough for Mamata Banerjee. Why? Because the BJP has offered her this SIR issue on a platter. 91 lakhs, not a word of sympathy for what the people have gone through and what the people are going through even today. Because these tribunals have not been set up, the tribunals are not functioning. Nobody knows who's going to vote and who's not going to vote. The BJP and the Election Commission had better watch out, because I'm very worried what is going to happen on the 23rd, when the first lot of voters go into a polling booth, uncertain of who's on the list and whose name is not on the list. No one has any reason. No one has offered them a reason as to why their name is not on the list. No one's telling them that you're a Ghuspetia. So what is their status? If they have been mapped as voters in the draft list, and then they have been sent these notices, which is what has happened. Are eligible voters, but the Election Commission is keeping them out. 60 lakhs of them.
Right.
Or 27 lakhs of them.
But Shikha, we saw the 2021 elections also, where all that, oh Didi, and all that happened.
That's not happening anymore.
Yeah, Kailash Vijayvargi, upping the ante, all those scenes people have not forgotten. How different do you see this 2026 elections in Bengal when you compare it with 2021? That time also the campaign rhetoric was huge. It almost looked as if the BJP is winning the elections, but that was not the case on the ground. Do you feel that the situation is almost similar to like what we saw in 2021, or it's far worse because of SIR?
Far worse because of SIR. I think, the Didi was a direct attack on Mamata Banerjee. This time, the BJP is being, at least Mr. Modi, not so much Mr. Shah. Mr. Modi is very circumspect. He doesn't even really use a name. So it's only yesterday that he made a mention of Didi. But
he said Didi Jache, and he also said that this time Bhawanipur also BJP is winning.
Yeah. Bhawanipur, by the way, the Subhendu Adhikari, who's the leader of the opposition, is contesting against her, which makes it a very tough, very interesting. It is the star constituency of West Bengal. Anyway, be that as it may, the issue is that this is a fight where Mamata as a leader, and Mamata as a person has to be put out of the campaign, because they cannot take on Mamata as a person, as a charismatic leader. They tried it in 2021, it boomeranged vastly. So, and then the BJP doesn't really have a face. Even today, Mr. Shah was very cagey, except for saying that there will be a person of a Bengali from who will take over, and that's weird. So, having said that, you have Mamata who's hitting the ground 3 to 4 meetings a day. That's really intense, and she has a backup of Abhishek Banerjee and the local leadership. An organization which, no matter how much the BJP says that we are a very organized, very strong, very well disciplined, strongly managed organization. That is not quite the truth on the ground in West Bengal. So they have these weaknesses. The Trinamool has its own weakness. I mean, there are internal squabbles all the time happening inside the Trinamool, which is very, very, very typical of a party which came out of the Congress itself. The Congress is prone to have these fights. But the BJP now is up against two things. One, it is up against the SIR issue on which it is totally politically isolated. And it is being, and people in the common man's mind, it is very clear, EC equals BJP equals center. So there is this anti-center, Bengal has a tradition of political history of being anti-center, anti-establishment. Actually more anti-establishment than anything. So it's made Mamata again into an anti-establishment figure, cutting out that anti-incumbency. It's not that anti-incumbency is going away, but it's
we can't say that right, but people always say that the image of a fighter who's fighting on the street always suits Mamata, and she's been able to capitalize it much better this time in 2026 as compared to 2021. I remember last time when there were elections, I think she fell down. She had a plaster on her foot at that time, but this time I think SIR and the controversy around it has made things easier for Mamata, I believe.
Yeah, because she hit the ground running on SIR from February. She hit the ground running. She held the rally. She went to the Supreme Court. So she has this image, which is her USP anyway. That's her brand. That she's fiery, she's feisty, she's combative, she's aggressive, she's pro people. Whereas in the BJP model, it's always the double engine sarkar. It's Modi, Amit Shah, the Delhi dispensation, which will decide how things will run in West Bengal. It's not a leader from the ground up, it's a leader chosen by the center. That makes a difference.
No, Assam had its fair share of controversy towards the last leg. And in the last 1 week or so, Pawan Khera came out with this fake passport issue. In West Bengal, similarly, we are seeing this Humayun Kabir video and the sting operation, 1,000 crore deal. What is this? I really want to understand. And is it having any traction on the ground? What is the issue? We are also reading that AIMIM has pulled out of the alliance. That's what we're reading. What is happening on that front?
See, Humayun Kabir is not a very creditable leader. Why? He was with the Congress, moved to the Trinamool, moved to the BJP, moved to the Trinamool, and then decided to form his own party. Everybody in Bengal, including people from within the BJP, were telling me that he had a lot of money. He collected a lot of money for his.
But what about these allegations where it said that he's in touch with the PMO, and what about those allegations? Do they have credence?
I don't know whether they have credence about the PMO, but they certainly have credence that, who is he working for? Where is he getting the money? Because on the Babri Masjid, he collected some 6 or 8 crores. And there was a lot of speculation. There were people within the BJP who were saying, yeah, maybe, he can get it from places, which was a clear indication of where they think the money was coming from. So one is Humayun Kabir is not a very, I don't know really I don't think he has much traction at the ground level. And if meme has moved out, then even less so. Because that is a clear indication from the meme to its own, to whoever they think were their voters that don't have anything to deal with it. So that's
But
an interesting.
apart from this sting operation which just came in yesterday, but apart from that, BJP has also talked about the cut money culture and the corruption, and then the administrative system is not working. All of those promises have been consistently been made by Prime Minister. It has also been repeated today by Amit Shah while he was releasing the manifesto. Does this have traction on the ground? Are the people really fed up of the cut money culture which they've been alleging?
See,
Does this issue put the rule on the back foot?
of course it does, because this is anti-incumbency. It's a classic anti-incumbency issue. That people are misusing abuse of power. One is abuse of power by a political person at the grassroots. That is one part of the corruption story, and the other one is the money, cut money. Now, cut money has certainly impacted the Trinamool. It impacted the CPM after 34 years in power, and the same kind of allegations were made against the CPM as well. They were becoming just unbearable. So this is a problem that West Bengal has experienced in two phases. During the last years of the CPM, and now with the Trinamool. West Bengal's argument, and there are different arguments that I've heard from a lot of people. Their argument is as follows. A large number of people in the BJP, including the leader of the opposition, Shubhendu Adhikari, are imports from the Trinamool Congress. They're defectors. So they bring the Trinamool culture to the BJP rather than a BJP culture taking them over. That's one, which is also the same kind of argument that is against Hemant Biswa Sharma, that he's imported the Congress into the BJP. So that is one. In other words, the practices of the Trinamool Congress have now shifted into being the practices of the BJP. The second that is being said is, we saw that the day that the Trinamool Congress became powerful and the real challenger, and everybody was expecting them to win, hordes of people from the CPM, all the Bahubalis, all moved to the Trinamool. This is also going to happen with the BJP. That's the second argument I've heard. And the third argument I've heard is even more interesting, which is that maybe we should have a change, because the new guy always doesn't take a big bite out of the money. They start nibbling at the first term is always nibbling at the edges. So maybe life will be a little more bearable during the first term. All kinds of arguments we've heard, but at the end of the day, whether it actually adds up to a big no vote to Mamata and a majority to the BJP, in the context of what is happening in SIR, and people are very disturbed, is, I think, makes it very difficult for the BJP. It has to do far more than it is. It's kind of coasting along. It doesn't appear to be doing as energetic a campaign as it did in 2021.
Right. So that's an important observation. That's a very important observation you made. So my last question to you before I wind up in a very brief answer. So if 12 days before, if I may ask you to predict, though we are no astrologers to see who's going to win the election, but who do you think is having an upper edge? Is it Trinamool or it is BJP? And we've not spoken about the left and the Congress because they're just not visible. So is it
very important? It's very important in this election. Because the left and the Congress in particular in pockets, and the left also in pockets, but on a much wider scale across the state, they have done very close groundwork, grassroots work, to reconnect themselves to their vote banks, who had moved to the BJP. And they're expecting that even if they don't win a lot of seats, which they're not expecting to do, they may well expect only a handful of seats, but they're hoping that their vote share will go up seriously. So is the Congress expecting that to happen? In which case, there is only that many votes. So it will have to mean that A, they are trying to get back the votes that went away to the BJP, and they are also trying to get back some of the votes that went to the Trinamool Congress. Whether in the post-SIR shock of 91 lakhs, that same sentiment works, I will need a few more days to check it out. But at this point in time, it is an interesting thing, because where these votes are returning or reconnecting to the Congress and the CPM will make a big impact on whichever party is there, hoping to outdo the other.
No, so does this election, the X factor is Congress and a CPM combined? Are you saying that the X factor of this election is CPM plus Congress?
No, the X factor they are not the X factor, but they are X factor in certain constituencies,
okay,
where they can make a big difference, because they can shave off the margin, they can shave off the vulnerability, they can make people very vulnerable. That's when you have multipolar politics. That's why it becomes unpredictable.
So would you want to hazard a guess as to who seems to be having a dominant position right now, whether it's BJP or Trinamool?
The BJP certainly not, because of this resentment. There is this very strong resentment.
Okay.
Otherwise,
all right. Yes.
No, otherwise, it would have been a more equal fight.
Yeah. Okay, so interesting times, but we'll have to wait and watch what happens over the next 12 days. 23rd April is the first phase of West Bengal election, so we'll have to wait and watch. Thank you so much. It was lovely to talk to you, Shikha. Thank you very much for joining on HW. Thank you.